committees of international conferences. He has delivered many keynote and distinguished speeches at international events. He has delivered many keynote and distinguished speeches at international events. He is a wide-rated researcher at National Research Foundation NRF Science Agency of South Africa. He has secured funding from international agencies such as Royal Academy of Engineering and involved in national and international research projects. He has supervised more than 10 master's and doctoral students and 3 postdoctoral research fellows, and the list goes on. But if I just take more time, we'll not have enough time to listen to his lecture. Welcome you, Dr. Kapil Gupta, sir, for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't know what's the time over there. I think you're from South Africa itself. I don't know the time over there, but thank you for giving us the time. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, could you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's audible.
Yeah, that's good. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's 8:15 a.m. in South Africa, but I am in India itself these days.
Okay.
I am at Kota.
Okay.
So, let me share my screen first, then we will discuss further. So, can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
That's good. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kapil Gupta, Associate Professor from University of Johannesburg. The title of my talk is Sustainability in Micro Machining. So, this is the organization of my presentation. First of all, we'll discuss about sustainability and sustainable manufacturing, a sort of background, and then developments in sustainable manufacturing. Brief about sustainable manufacturing. After that, we'll jump to sustainability in micro machining, and the specific focus will be on modern micro machining, the basic modern micro machining processes. Then some facts and figures about sustainability. How is it going in India, in South Africa, as regards to sustainability in general, not micro machining or manufacturing point of view, in general. And challenges and opportunities we'll discuss. Then conclusion and call to action. Then we'll be having some time for discussion, question, answers, your inputs, comments, and basically I'm interested in collaboration talk. So we'll try to find the avenues. At the end, there are some avenues specific to sustainability in micro machinings, which can be explored together jointly. So we'll discuss that as well. So let's start with the introduction to sustainability and sustainable manufacturing. So in general, the basic definition of sustainability is what? The basic definition is the ability to exist constantly, or the ability to continue a defined behavior indefinitely. In general definition, very basic definition of sustainability. But United Nations understands sustainability in terms of sustainable development and defines development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So it covers sustainability for environment, sustainability for economy, sustainability for society. So how these 3 aspects, like 3 pillars, are covered in our attempts as well when we talk about sustainability in micro machining, that we will discuss. But here about the basic background. So the drivers for global adoption for sustainable development, you know very well, increasing populations, due to that accelerated demand of the resources, items, our daily need items, and due to that the escalated environmental footprint, carbon footprint, or environmental impact. So in the beginning, sustainability was assumed or was being considered as sustainability for environment only. It was only an environmental issue. But as the time progressed, so it was realized that it is important to include economy and society as well. Harmonization of 3 elements. What 3 elements? Economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. So sustainability doesn't mean only the something related to climate or environment. When we talk about the pillars, so it is like economy is profit, social is people, and then environment, planet. So three pillars of sustainability: economy, environment, and society. Most of you are aware probably. So sustainability in each and every activity, whether the manufacturing field or transportation, or we talk about the restaurants, the hotels, the only thing we think about is the sustainability from the point of view of environment. So there environmentally benign activities are followed, are considered. What are those activities? Those activities in terms of various tools and techniques. For what? For conservation of soil, water, and energy, for climate production by reducing the greenhouse gas emissions, waste reduction, and for societal health. It is very important to have a very brief discussion on United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, because these days all United Nations members, out of around 190 members, they are aggressively working on SDGs. Universities and institutes are also working on SDGs. In our university, we are compliant to focus our teaching and research towards SDG as well as Industry 4.0. So there are 17 SDGs in 2015 General Assembly of United Nations, 17 SDGs and 169 targets were discussed and then were finalized to promote economic prosperity, social inclusion, and environmental sustainability. Why? Why? To get a better world by 2030. So what are those SDGs? What are those SDGs? There are 17 SDGs. So out of these 17, being a teacher, being an engineer, and working in technical university or institutes, what SDGs we can focus upon? So these are very clear. SDG number 7, SDG number 9, that is industry, innovation, and infrastructure, that I'm going to discuss briefly. And then obviously SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. SDG 11, that is very important from the point of view of civil engineering and electrical engineering, sustainable cities and communities. And then other SDGs can also be focused upon, but SDG 17 is also very, very important. SDG 17 is also very, very important. Why important? Because if we are collaborating or planning to work jointly, then we are directly contributing towards SDG 17. And by the way of SDG 17 or utilizing the way of SDG 17, we can target, we can contribute to other SDGs. So United Nations Development Program is there, which is responsible for that. And there are lots of wings, there are lots of schemes of United Nations to promote SDGs, to keep eye on the progress of countries as regards to SDGs are there. Then SDG 9 is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. It is very important. Why? Because we are talking about sustainability, sustainable tools and techniques. When we talk about micro machining, and then when we talk about the MQL and these type of techniques, then these type of techniques, if we are working on, if we are inventing something, then we are directly contributing towards SDG 9, whether you realize or not. But from today onwards, we'll start realizing that we are directly contributing towards SDG 9. Why? SDG 9, what was the target, or what is the target? To build resilient infrastructure, promote sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. So if we are working jointly, then we are fostering innovation, sustainable industrialization. So obviously sustainability or sustainability interventions or sustainable manufacturing tools and techniques are falling there. And why to do that? Because economic growth and social development and climate action are heavily dependent on investments in all these. So technological progress is important. Under SDG 9, there are around 9 to 10 targets. So target number 9.4 and 9.5 is very, very important. 9.4 says to upgrade all industries and infrastructures for sustainability. And 9.5 is enhancing research and upgrade industrial technologies. To enhance research, so what? So find out new sustainable techniques which can promote healthy environment, safe work practices, and cost efficiency, upgrade all industries and infrastructure for sustainability. And what could be the proposed strategies? So there are many, like first of all, to prioritize SDGs, to include SDGs in our teaching and research, and to work jointly to understand the concept and phenomena, to disseminate the concept of SDGs, and by collaboration and by many other ways. So the most important way is to collaborate, SDG 17. So it is important to realize, that's why I have discussed this SDG 9, that directly, indirectly, we are contributing towards SDG 9 if we are working in the field of sustainable manufacturing or Industry 4.0 or any new technology or technique if we are researching in. Now, sustainable manufacturing or production. So sustainable manufacturing production, sustainability interventions from raw material extraction to customer feedback to supply chain, that is sustainable production. But when we talk about the United Nations Department of Commerce, so sustainable manufacturing is defined as what? Is defined as the creation of manufactured products using processes that minimize negative environmental impacts, conserve energy and natural resources, and are safe for employees. So here we are talking about the society. Previously, we talked about the environment, and are safe for employees, communities, and consumers, as well as are economically sound. So there are two aspects. Aspect number one is the sustainable manufacturing of sustainable products. Aspect number two is sustainable manufacturing of products. So you can differentiate very well what is manufacturing of sustainable products and sustainable manufacturing of all products, and why it is important, because we all are focusing on Industry 4.0, fourth industrial revolution. So we know what is fourth industrial revolution, that is digitalization, but there are two negative aspects. Number one is the dehumanization of industrialization due to Industry 4.0. Number two is the environmental degradation. So in order to address that, sustainability interventions are very, very important, and we should work on these directly, indirectly, directly, like what? Like just disseminate the concept of sustainability among your colleagues, to the students, participate in sustainable manufacturing type activities, competitions, directly involve yourself, and it is very, very easy to beautifully divert any sort of research towards sustainability research. In terms of when we talk about the manufacturing, then there are lots of things. Use energy efficiency techniques, resource efficient manufacturing, using various type of instruments, by optimizing the manufacturing processes to reduce the power consumption, and there are lots of such ideas are there. Now, these are the techniques which are used, which can be used for sustainable manufacturing or to bring sustainability in manufacturing: smart manufacturing, green machining, hybrid manufacturing, energy and resource efficiency, intelligent manufacturing, recycling, remanufacturing, and many other. So developments in sustainable manufacturing, when we speak about the very basic three conventional machining processes, turning, milling, and drilling. So there are lots of sustainability interventions, lots of techniques are there, like dry machining, near dry machining, green lubricants, process optimization, assisted and hybrid machining, using textured and treated tools. So they are ultimately doing what? These sustainable machining strategies, they are ultimately contributing to attain the key drivers in order to strengthen the pillars of sustainability. And the ultimate goal is to reduce the carbon footprints of machining, as well as to achieve cost efficiency and the health, better health of the worker who are involved there. So quickly, when we talk about the sustainability interventions in conventional machining, then MQL system is there, minimum quantity lubrication, where micro droplets of green or sustainable lubricants are sprinkled in the machining zone between the tool and work interface, and it makes a cushion-like arrangement there on the tool, and it says the it increases the tool life as well as reduces the heat that is generated there in the machining zone. The other example is the cryogenic cooling system, liquid nitrogen or some other gases like helium and carbon dioxide are sprinkled in the machining zone. Cushion-like arrangement is made there. It is very, very important from the point of view of minimizing the tool wear, and high-speed machining of difficult to machine materials are possible due to this thing. And there are many other sustainability techniques, like 2 more: heat-assisted machining. We are talking about conventional machining, and you know very well conventional machining can also be used for meso and micro machining. So heat-assisted machining is there in order to just soften the workpiece. If we struggle with the yield strength of the material, then just soften the workpiece. That may facilitate the machining, and we can easily machine at high speed the difficult to machine materials due to heat assisted machining. Vibration assisted machining is also there, where ultrasonic vibrations are provided either to the tool or to the workpiece to facilitate the chip removal, and ultimately they contribute towards the environmental friendliness and cost effectiveness as well. So this is about the conventional. Conventional can also be used for macro, micro, and meso. Now let's talk about the modern micro machining processes. So we know very well laser beam machining, electrochemical machining, abrasive water jet machining, and electric discharge machining are the basic 4 micro machining processes. They are also used to cut macro products as well as the meso size products. So we know very well that why sustainable interventions are required, because there are lots of byproducts like harmful gases in EDM, ECM, and laser beam based machining. Silica dust is the major unsustainable byproduct in abrasive water jet machining. Exhausted slurry is also a byproduct. Radiation dangers are there in laser beam machining and electric discharge machining, and other byproducts like benzene and vapors and fumes. So to address these problems associated with these byproducts and some other problems, those individual problems we'll discuss individually there on the respective slides. So to address this, there are various sustainability interventions like dry EDM, near dry EDM, green EDM, and in laser, eco laser beam machining, underwater laser beam machining, electrochemical machining, green machining is there, green ECM, pulse ECM, ice jet machining for abrasive water jet. So we'll discuss individually there. So these are the sustainability interventions in modern micro machining. Why? You know very well why. We have discussed why. And on the other hand, for the environment point of view, as well as from the point of view of productivity, they facilitate the machining, they contribute. Now again, here the matter is like for what, how. So by various sustainable machining strategies like previously we have discussed, these are some more strategies. Why? To attain the key drivers in order to strengthen the pillar of sustainability, environment, economy, and society. There is one paper of mine which was published in 2018 that is based on developments in non-conventional machining. If you want to go through, you can go through. All the contents of today's presentation are basically from that paper. So let's talk about individually in sustainability in electric discharge machining. Am I with you? You are there? Am I in your program? You all can hear me? Hello? Please reply. The organizing committee.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. So sustainability in electric discharge micro machining. So the very basic principle you know very well. I am not going to discuss that technical aspect, but reaction byproducts are there. Basically the dielectric. So approximately 43% of environmental impact is caused by the dielectric fluids in electric discharge machining or electrical discharge machining or electro discharge machining. So what is the solution? Solution is to use dry and near dry ADM. In dry ADM, we use compressed air or gas, oxygen, argon, or helium. And then in near dry ADM, mist is used, glycerin with air, and water, EDM oil that is sustainable or green oil can be used to minimize the environmental impact. Hybrid EDM is also one of the best options, where hybridization of electric discharge machining with any other conventional or advanced machining process. That is also very, very important from the point of view of removal of the exhaust material from the machining zone, as well as to improve the process capability and the productivity. So this near dry EDM, hybrid EDM, and then optimization of electric discharge machining processes, and there may be some more. So this is how we can attain sustainability and to improve the process capability as well in case of electric discharge machining. When we talk about electrochemical machining, then you know hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, this type of electrolytes are very toxic and harmful. So the alternate is to use green electrolytes in green electrochemical machining, like sodium nitrate, sodium citrate, citric acid, mineral water. So they are less harmful compared to the conventional electrolytes which are used in electrochemical machining. Or pulse ECM is also very important, where relaxation period is given during off time for flushing of the material removed, and that improves the productivity, that also improves the process capability, and ultimately you achieve sustainability. Hybrid ECM option is also there, where hybridization of electrochemical machining with other conventional and advanced machining processes, and that is for a better material removal rate to improve the efficiency of the process, and ultimately contribution towards the sustainable to make the process a sustainable process, electrochemical machining. Now, when we talk about the abrasive water jet micro machining, so recycling of abrasive is very important, and it is having the capability to machine at micro level or micro scale. So sometimes it is difficult due to that thing, the embedment of abrasive particles. It is difficult sometimes to use abrasive water jet machining for precision applications, for finishing operations, and especially for cutting of food and these type of things. So the solution is using the ice particle, that is called ice jet machining. So liquid nitrogen based ice particle, they are generated and supplied to the machining zone or cutting zone with high pressure water. So it is clean, safe, efficient, and environmentally friendly. And there have been a lot of research conducted in case of sustainable EDM, in case of sustainable ECM as well. There are research papers I haven't included here. So work of the researchers are there. I also worked on sustainable gear manufacturing by abrasive water jet machining, that is a sort of meso machining. So it is very easy. When you explore some papers, then you will find some equations how to derive a sustainability index. Then you can compare various processes from the point of view of sustainability, and then you can determine which process is the most sustainable from the point of view of expenditure, energy consumption, and many other sustainability indicators. So contamination of electronic boards, cleaning of compact discs, printed circuit boards, camera parts is done using ice jet machining. Pollution-free and damage-free cleaning of delicate parts, damage-less cleaning of molds and toolings, and contamination-free cutting of food products like meat and all. Ice jet machining is used. Researchers also used, and they have shown very promising results after using ice jet machining. Although ice jet machining cannot 100% substitute that, but to some extent. And research and innovation interventions are still required to make this process more sustainable. When we talk about the laser-based micro machining, then you know thermal damage is a problem in laser, and emission of byproducts, aerosols, and particulates and gases. So particulates and gases, that is all aerosol, it is a major problem. And the conventional CO2-based laser, it is very expensive from the point of view of energy consumption. So the substitute is to use direct diode, disc, and fiber lasers. Underwater laser is also very important sustainable variant of laser beam machining, where underwater or using some ethanol, methanol, and acetone by various underwater laser beam machining techniques like static water, dynamic water, and then water jet assisted machining technique. Machining is, or micro machining is done. It is to what? It is to create wet atmospheric condition to minimize adverse thermal effects of laser and to reduce the emissions of gases and particulates into the atmosphere. Underwater laser is done. As I said, there are 3 variants of underwater laser. So they all are very effective, and there are various results of the researchers for machining of ceramics, micro machining of ceramics and composites for this laser. So you can also explore in detail. I have just given an idea here that how it can be done and how it is being done these days. So future research avenues where we can probably make a collaboration for sustainability in micro machining. The collaboration depends upon the availability of resources at your institute, my institute. So what are the future research avenues where we can collaborate, or what still can be researched under the segment of electric discharge micro machining? So investigating some more sustainable dielectrics and treatment of erosion slurry that is a bit untouched, using a combination of sustainable dielectric and hybrid ECM. That is also one of my ideas, that use sustainable dielectric as well as the hybrid EDM. Electrochemical micro machining, prevention of rust, sludge treatment, improved filtration, protection from electrolytes and harmful byproducts. It is very, very important. And investigating hybrid ECM with green electrolyte. That is also very, very novel aspect. In abrasive water jet micro machining, obviously the treatment and recycling of abrasive particles has always been a major topic of research. Developing suitable dust and particle collection system is also very, very important, and many novel attempts can be made in that area. In laser beam micro machining, treating gases, aerosols and particulates generated during material heating and evaporation during laser beam based micro machining, and protection from direct, reflected and scattered radiation. It is also very, very important. Hybrid laser beam machining, laser is being used with EDM for hybridization, for ECM as well, and there may be some more laser beam machining based hybrid machining techniques can be explored. Life cycle engineering, as I told you, for the comparative analysis, that from the sustainability point of view, which machining method is the most sustainable, life cycle engineering and analysis can be thought of. Then I wanted to give you some facts and figures about sustainability, or let's say sustainable development in India. So adoption of United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goal, a roadmap, and who is taking care of in India is the NITI Aayog. And from that point of view, there are lots of interventions, there are lots of schemes of Indian government. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, you know very well, then smart cities, Make in India, and this I'm talking from the point of view of sustainability and industry 4.0 intervention, Startup India, Digital India schemes. When we talk about statistics, 52% of Indian population is aged between 15 to 35 years. So the PMO thinks about that wonders can be done in India, because most of the population is young population, and it is the 6th biggest world economy. GDP is expected to be $4 trillion USD by 2030, and manufacturing contribution to GDP is 13% as per 2020. Now, SDG index is there of NITI Aayog, where NITI Aayog rates various states. So the topmost state for 2021 is the Kerala, and they have their measures how to rate and in what aspect of SDG, and they evaluate the progress. There are various other things like dynamic recycling industry is being taken place there. In India is being established. International Solar Alliance is there in partnership with France, and lots of other schemes which I haven't covered, I couldn't cover here. Now, when we talk about sustainable development in South Africa, so South Africa, the GDP is 302 billion USD, and ranking of economy is 43rd in the world. So in South Africa, we consider as the green economy, that is just a transition to a resource efficient, low carbon and pro-employment growth path. Green economy is one of the pathways to sustainable development and poverty eradication, and may ensure sustainable economic growth. There are lots of schemes like National Strategy for Sustainable Development, National Development Plan, where sustainability or green economy is being taken care of. Such a strategic plan is there. In that strategic plan, there are 9 priority sectors and areas like sustainable consumption and production, green buildings, clean energy, sustainable waste management. So South African government is also very, very serious towards sustainability, as well as about Industry 4.0. Now, when we talk about the rankings of countries, then SDG based ranking, India is at 120 position, South Africa is 101, Finland is at the top with the score of 85.90. There are various measures to allocate this score. So countries' total progress towards achieving all 17 SDGs, and 17 SDGs I have shown you. You might also aware with all these SDGs, and important SDGs also we have discussed where to focus upon. The very prominent, the very basic is the SDG 17 for collaboration point of view. Now there is Times Higher Education Impact Ranking as well. where University of Johannesburg is at 92 position all over the world. 117 universities are there, and University of Johannesburg is standing at number 1 for SDG 8, that is decent work and economic growth. And we are also focusing on other SDGs in our teaching and research activity. We are compliant to do sustainability related activities, sustainability related papers, and then books chapters, some projects, collaborations, to apply for the funding. There are lots of international funding, European funding based on sustainable manufacturing. So this is all about the ranking thing. Challenges and opportunities. So challenges are many, you know very well: increasing population, increasing demand, and then escalated environmental footprints. Due to that, there is a need to find out the opportunity to excel towards sustainability. Lack of awareness, when we talk about the very basic challenges, then lack of awareness. So for that, dissemination of concept like what we are discussing today, it is very, very important. Lack of awareness, interest, and engagement tendency. This is the challenge. Working beyond comfort zone is one of the biggest challenges. Paucity of time is there, funding, resources, any skills, absence of collaborative efforts, and opportunities are also there. So we should focus on opportunities. Low intensity of research. Opportunities. So opportunities, we can explore these opportunities by working jointly. Youth empowerment and upskilling is very, very important. SDGs, advocacy and dissemination. There are lots of SDG advocates these days. Those SDG advocate in India, I'm not remembering. There are some SDG advocate. That is, I think, one of the actresses there. And then a top-rated singer in the world. They all are the advocates of SDGs. And it's our duty to disseminate the concept of sustainable development goal and sustainability. Integrating SDGs into research and teaching, research development, innovation, plans, policies, funding, scholarships are there. And from government point of view, from NGOs and other agencies point of view, it is important to just increase the volume or increase these schemes so that more people can participate, more and more schemes, more and more sustainability. Interdisciplinary engagements are also very, very important. You can go through this link. This link is very important, where you will realize, and then you will be having the opportunity to connect people, to join people, and to get aware what is going on around the world as regards to sustainable development goal. Contribution of University of Johannesburg. So we have discussed about the impact ranking. This is about some of my review and research-based papers on sustainability. There is also one of my books on sustainable manufacturing recently published by Elsewhere. And then there are some more books of mine, and lots of other interventions are there of University of Johannesburg. Not only sustainable manufacturing or sustainability, also Industry 4.0. Our university is having a separate wing, separate website even on Industry 4.0, where we are working. Our library is Library 4.0. We are compliant to do activities to Industry 4.0. What activities? Activities in the sense of we also have the short learning program on this program is free and open to all. A massive open online courses. It is falling under that. So artificial intelligence in Industry 4.0, something like that. There is short learning program of University of Johannesburg, and we have lots of other short learning programs, as well as the schemes, funding schemes, some vacancies based on Industry 4.0. So you can explore the website of University of Johannesburg for that. You will realize what I'm letting you know now. So we are focusing aggressively on Industry 4.0 and sustainability. Now I wanted to just show you the corporate video of University of Johannesburg. I hope there wouldn't be any problem. So let's watch.
There's a future at our doorstep. One where old concepts are being challenged, where accepted ideas are being tested, where unknown opportunities will crystallize, and fundamentally different perspectives hover at horizons that beckon exploration. And there's a path to that future, a way forward for Africa, a route of accomplishment for a new generation. It's a road towards understanding and knowledge, where the tools are to be found that enable us to build on the old, to harness the new, to fully embrace the digital universe which we are beginning to inhabit. This is what we do at the University of Johannesburg, UJ, where the whole is far greater than the sum of its parts. We have a vision to be an international university of choice, anchored in Africa, dynamically shaping the future. Our mission is to inspire our community to transform and serve humanity through innovation and the collaborative pursuit of knowledge. And it's our values that underpin everything we do. And the first of those values, the one on which we build, is imagination. It's through imagination that we learn together from our diversity. When in 2005, 3 institutions became one, it was more than just a change of name. We took on the essence of the economic hub of Africa, Johannesburg, vibrant, dynamic, and like us, paving the way in a new South Africa, reimagining tomorrow. Our teachers, thought leaders, and mentors, our distinguished visiting professors, and our commitment to world-class research are leading the way on our continent with a strategy for global excellence and stature. Here at UJ, on our 4 campuses, we're exploring a multidisciplinary approach, a technologically empowered system of learning and teaching, investigating overlapping disciplines from the real impact of early childhood development to the virtual space of artificial intelligence, process automation, and smart cities to the development of nanotechnology that removes pollutants from water. We're interrogating the sustainability of global resources through earth sciences, looking deep into our past to see a future that we can help shape. We have 43 specialized research centers that include the Center for Education Practice Research, the Graduate School of Architecture, the Institute for Intelligent Systems, the Institute for Pan-African Thought and Conversation, the Johannesburg Institute for Advanced Study, the UJ Confucius Institute, and the Center for Private International Law in Emerging Economies. And all of this at the cusp of the 4th Industrial Revolution, 4IR, that demands a new perspective, new modes of thinking and doing, new ways of working together, new techniques for research, and new partners for collaboration. We understand with a deep-seated conviction that 4IR is the future that we will learn as we teach it. A future that means teamwork, collaboration, and partnership in research, implementation, and the application of knowledge in the workplace of tomorrow. That's why we're leading in research in many fields, including artificial intelligence, transformative innovation, cybersecurity, cyber law, and at our African Center for Evidence, the use of technology for evidence synthesis. We're cosmopolitan. Each of our 4 campuses has a student center equipped with meeting places, restaurants, cafeterias, recreational facilities, and even shops for added convenience, giving them the feel of independent villages in the city. Some of our student centers house banks, bookshops, medical doctors, hairdressers, gift shops, and a supermarket. Staying in a UJ residence is an extension of the education we offer, with accommodation that ranges from residences to fully equipped apartments. Among our innovations, we offer first of its kind, fully online accredited qualifications in educational management, information and communication technology, public health, public management and governance, international accounting, human resource management, and financial markets. And as we move into the future, this list will continue to grow. Conversation. It's the value that underlies our learning together from our diversity, that underpins our determination to make wise decisions collectively, to engage meaningfully with one another in mutual respect, so that we can lead consultatively. Regeneration is the value that lets us develop sustainably through creative contribution to and by our staff and students for the society we want to build in South Africa and our wider continent, and for the benefit of a world changing before our eyes. It lets us look inward for renewal and fosters innovation for the common good. It guides us as we seek to make a positive change and to uncover and realize overlooked opportunities. But the value that embraces all our efforts, all our vision for the future, and all our commitment to our students, society, and continent is our ethical foundation. It is through this value that we treasure academic freedom and seek balance in our pursuit of knowledge. It gives us the strength to face our challenges with courage, to earn trust in others, to act responsibly, fairly, consistently, and transparently, to participate in our community, to practice that quintessential South African quality of Ubuntu, the humanness that makes us what we are and enables us to create what we know we can be. As we teach, wonder, question everything, learn willingly, and bring the fruits of our research to the edge of a new future, providing all those who undertake this journey of knowledge with us with the tools we need to create tomorrow. The University of Johannesburg, the future reimagined.
So lastly, I would like to conclude, sustainability is a journey, not destination, as far as I am concerned. And our goal should be to improve continuously. And my call to action is start thinking about sustainability if you haven't as yet. And let's collaborate to become sustainable. Thank you so much for the opportunity and listening me. Now we can engage, I think. Discussion, question, answer, talk.
Any question from participants? Okay, thank you very much, Professor Kapil Gupta, for accepting my invitation to deliver the lecture and delivering such a nice talk as well as informative talk on the sustainability of the micro machining. And they have given the different types of the opportunities as well as the work that is carried out on the sustainability on the University of the Johannesburg. So thank you for delivering us such a nice and informative lecture. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, Dr. Pandey, and everybody, you are welcome to approach me for any sort of joint activity as regards to teaching and learning. And we also collaborated with many institutes in India. Our collaboration is underway with Amrita University, Bangalore, IIT Indore. We have already collaborated, Manipal University, Jaipur. So, and you are also invited to visit University of Johannesburg. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much. The next session basically that will start from the 2:30 onwards. All the participants are requested to please join in time, and please don't worry about the attendance because we are taking the attendance online through the Google Meet attendance. The feedback form basically that may be sent at the last of this lecture, but that is not for the attendance. Each and attendance basically that may be taken online for each and every session, and that attendance may be compiled basically. So if you are attending the session properly, then it means you will be present, and if you are not attending the session, then you will be marked as absent. So it is my humble request to all participants, please attend the session regularly so that we have to not mark absent or like that, and please don't focus on the feedback form are the attendance, and it is also requested, please don't send such type of the message, sir, please send the feedback form or Google form or the attendance link, because that form you are filling, that is not used for the attendance purpose basically, that is only for the feedback form. And at the last of this program, you have to also fill the feedback basically through your respective login on the Atal website. So thank you very much. Please join the next session at 2:30 in time, so that the next session basically that may be started within the time. Okay, thank you very much for the today's second session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.